Good evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe, the art of conversation. It is where artist comes alive. The spoken word brings forth the inner creation of hidden treasure, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that brings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds through various forms of expression, including writers, singers, spoken word, and artistic expression in painting, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas at all levels to the mind, with my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina, gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Welcome to the Artists of Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCray. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to embark on a new wave of expressing this platform to our audience. So sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now let's get started.
Our engineer tonight is Brother Jeff, and this is Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word, with your hosts Terry Benjamin and Ronald C. McCray. Today's agenda is revisiting a classic. As you know, any classic is something that you don't read just once. You read it a couple of times because every time you read, you get something new. And so we're bringing to you a classic of literature, a classic of our voice in the arena of activism, because it's kind of hard to be in this world today and not realize that some changes have got to be made, So we bring to you people who are doing that. The quote of the day is from the cover of one of the books we're going to discuss tonight. And it says here, and this is from Gregory Comedian, human rights activist, and author. And he says here, and I quote, "Brother DeLacy Davis, I thank God for his courage, wisdom, and caring soul. Black Cops Against Police Brutality, a crisis action plan, is the how-to book of setting up a plan against police brutality in our community. This book can help save your life, your community, and your spirit. It's about freedom, a rightful freedom that is due to every human being in this world." From Dick Gregory, again, from a book we're going to talk about a little later on in the program. But right now, as always, we begin with Ron's poetry. Ron, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I think what I have here ties into our conversation as we continue to move forward. Mm-hmm. And the title of this one is, "What is freedom to a black person?" Mm-hmm. What is freedom to a black person? African American in a land that isn't their own, a land that was built and shaped through violence, be it as lashes, crucifixion, or incarceration until their spirit is broken. Mm-hmm. What symbolizes the freedom of that reflects the lifestyle handed down from a higher spiritual power, which grants life and allows one to enjoy it abundantly, thereby fulfilling their purpose. Seek that which is unlocked through a mental state of clarity, freshness, vibrancy, and freedom. Freedom from feeling trapped deep inside an empty vessel with no exit, searching for opportunities to guide the flow of potential gifts and blessings, a blessing that brings joy and prosperity to everyday life. The pleasure of being creative, showcasing talent, cooking, sewing, gardening, whatever it takes to find freedom in life's hand. Freedom to a black person is life, a powerful, glorious feeling that goes far beyond what anyone can imagine. It's the foundation of equal justice for all who strive to rise from despair and cruelty, a burning pain in the heart that reaches beyond chaos and suffering, often leading to a moment of surrender. Freedom is like a gentle breeze that quietly moves through valleys of whispering sounds, a way to forget where you are because each step is so soft that no one trying to stop you notice. Freedom walks a path less traveled, away and from loud noise towards the peaceful serenity of spiritual freedom. What is freedom, and how can it be defined? Where no chains, bells, whipping posts, or echoes linger in the memory of their soul. Freedom in my soul, a legacy of stories untold. The scab of whelps across their backside, praying for many tears to weep silently in a world beyond a galaxy, never to hear a cry.
That's just powerful. Again, the whole concept of freedom, something that we live for, something that we strive for, and it's just so sad that in this country it's just so hard for us to achieve. And again, it's something that we're going to look at. And I want to welcome our community, because again we're going to have a very deep discussion about what has gone on yesterday and what's going on today. And again, one of the questions that we're going to look at, especially when we talk about what's going on now as opposed to what's going on before, how has it changed? Has it changed at all? Is it the same or if it's worse? And so my brother here, you have something else to share with us in terms of your poetic expression?
Yeah, I'd like to read this one, which ties into, because this is important as you just expressed, a moment of consciousness. Defining consciousness is pivotal in rendering one's thought beyond self. Where am I? Time passes through the wind tunnel, traveling in many directions without answer to its whereabouts or purpose. Consciousness is the inward body of the soul. By searching deep, one will explore hidden molecules within the core of the wall lining, as the membranes speak in a language coded by electrical impulse. As we aspirate, every organ jolted to restart awareness, collaborating with other inner parts to establish the whole. Skepticism led to self-doubt and distrust, which results in stagnation and isolation, distorting life view through a narrow lens. To achieve dreams, one must facilitate harmony within the mindset and avoid the possibility that nothing is as important as believing in oneself. God is the primary source of our existence, vertical and horizontal, inline, parallel, no matter which way we go, in circumference. Time is always there to receive and guide our pathway on this lonely journey. Let your belief and conscience be towards the heavenly star, shining so vast and brightly, saved by the grace of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Muhammad, Jesus too, and many more, who leads the way, comfort even in the midnight lonely hours. We can still rise towards the freedom of one's dream if we listen to the alarm tingling in our brains. Answer the call and wait for change. Are you conscious or still wandering in your own wilderness of self-doubt? Create a steering mechanism to align with a vision that controls the code of conduct of your conscious thinking. Thoughts are valuable for structural foundation. It must be solid as a rock and stand on your belief.
And the song says, wake up everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking. Time for thinking ahead. And again, I think that you bring that to us. Laretha Foster Brown, she's checking in, and she says, happy birthday, Terry. Thank you, Laretha. It's so funny because traditionally I take off from work on my birthday. But I didn't want to do it today because we have a special guest. We have a brother that have known of for quite some time, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to actually meet him. And so we're just going to get right into the introduction because I want him to really give us the full force of his wisdom. So who am I talking about?
So here we're going to have a powerful and a dynamic session this evening, a conversation that y'all won't be able to go to sleep. So let me get right into this. Yeah. Dr. DeLacy Davis. Dr. DeLacy Davis is an author, motivational speaker, activist, retired law enforcement officer, and recipient of numerous accolades. Represent himself as a soldier of stability. He works to raise awareness of the environment around us and encourages us to focus on a transformative perspective on a changing society. Today's focus, What has changed then and now? A mind-blowing dialogue for this evening podcast, Poetically Speaking. So, sit back and prepare for a changing awareness to see what life has in store. My brothers and sisters, as we always say, our guests, we recognize the titles and the position.
Right.
You know, we also extend our position in reference to getting permission to make sure that we're on the same page, because sometimes somebody may not like to call brothers or sisters. But we always say on this podcast, everybody is a brother and a sister.
Right,
this is a family. So again, if I say to this brother, and he said, no, call me Dr. Davis, no, we will respect
We'll do that.
it.
We'll respect that.
But you know what? It's not about that. It's about the information and the dialogue and the session that we're going to have this evening. So I guarantee you, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. You'll be so in tune, you're going to be calling this brother. He won't have enough time to answer all the phone calls. So again, welcome to this show this evening, our brother, Dr. DeLacy Davis.
Yes. Thank you, brothers. Thank you. I appreciate Brother Ron, Brother Benjamin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I guess the first question that I want to ask is, this again, this is a black classic. Black Cops Against Police Brutality, a crisis action plan. At this time, this was 2005, 2006. We
Yes.
call you brother, DeLacy Davis, and you're going on to become a doctor. But just to take you back, what made you write this book?
So I was, at that point, when I started, I was in my 19th year on the police force.
Oh, okay.
And I was disgusted with policing, and I was ready to leave.
Yes.
But I promised myself and the community that I would not leave the force until I left an institution in place.
Yes.
And so I needed to create something, a tool, an organization, something that would stand the test of time and live beyond me.
Wow.
And so I settled on the book, the Crisis Action Plan, a how-to book on dealing with police violence, misconduct, and abuse. And so I spent the next year writing it. At that time, I was struggling on the police force, to be honest. The doctors had kept me out for quite some time because what I was unable at that time to reconcile was the Negro-ness or the negritude,
Yes,
or as I called it back then, CNS, confused Negro syndrome, black people in position of authority, more concerned with doing a white thing than doing the right thing.
Ooh, wow.
And at that time, the white thing was doing what our white counterparts had taught us to do.
That's right.
And that was, some of us hated ourselves worse than the Klan hated us. And so I struggled with that. And so I just reached the end of the road. What I know now that I didn't have the vocabulary for then was that it was now time for me to go to the next level.
Okay.
And just like any other graduation or transition, I needed to complete some kind of project for myself.
Okay.
And that's what the book was. We self-published. We sold 6,000 copies. We were very supported by Dick Gregory, his editor, Lillian Smith, who did a lot of work with us for about a year to get that right. And then
Okay.
finally the editors that came in and did it and then got me published.
Now, I guess the next question is, okay, now you're a police officer, you're in the force, and my question to you is, what was the attitude of your fellow police officers? Did they say, oh, right on, brother, and they say, what are you talking about?
I was a pariah in law enforcement. My colleagues, not all of them in East Orange, but around the country, detested me.
Oh, wow.
And they said so to my face, some of them behind my back. And I understand. I understand because I was problematic. Because if you went on a call with me and you violated the community, you were almost certain that I was going to be testifying against you for the community.
Wow.
That just was a position. I took a stand. The late Norm, Granddad Reedy, who was actually an advisor to Reverend Sharpton, who was a detective at NYPD, and he passed in 2009. But he heard me on the radio with the open line one day, and he called me and kind of adopted me.
Okay.
And he would tell me, Brother DeLacy, when you take a principled stand, you're probably going to be standing alone. But because it's principled, I need you to stand on that position. And so, my mom, may God be pleased with her transition in 2012, but every protest I did, she was with me.
Wow.
My father, who was a hairdresser 65 years in Newark, he said, I work 18 hours a day, so you cats can do what you're doing. I want you to argue with the police, fight with the police. You do whatever you got to do, because at the end of the day, if they take that job, I got one for you. That's why I continue to run this business.
Now, my brother, okay, now the police that you're with, they're against you. Now you got the community. Now, was the community satisfied? Say, did they welcome you and say, "Oh, brother"?
Not in the beginning, not at all. You know, I told you the story off camera about brother Daruba bin Wahad.
Yes, yes.
And rightfully so. I remember first going to Ras Baraka's house before he was a councilman, before he was the mayor. Mr. Baraka and Ras particularly, he had a group called Black Nia Force.
Yes.
So he had Black Nia Force, which he started at Howard on that campus, and I had Black Cops Against Police Brutality. But I wanted to learn. And so I was willing to go into very uncomfortable positions and places. So when I went to his house on South 10th Street, they would have a session. They had what they call teach-ins. And they were 4-hour teach-ins.
Wow.
And so I go there one evening when they stopped me at the door and said, "You can't come in here with a gun." So I go back to my car, put the gun in the trunk. Then they take me down to a laundry room, 3 or 4 guys, and they said, "We need you. We're going to search you."
What?
And so they say, "Stand on one leg, and if you come off that leg, we're going to sweep you, stomp you, and beat you down here." And so I stood on one leg, they searched me, and then they said, "Now switch legs, and if you come off that leg, we're going to sweep you, stomp you, and beat you down." And so that was my introduction. And I spent 4 hours in that meeting, but I learned a lot.
Okay.
And there was a brother next to me, may God be pleased with him, he just recently transitioned. And every time I said something, they had security on this side of me, another brother on this side. So every time I said something, he said, "You know, I hate pigs."
Ooh.
And so every time I made a comment, he would say, "You know, I hate pigs." So by the 4th time I was making a comment, I'd been there about 3 hours. I'm tired, I'm hot, I'm sweaty.
Yeah.
He looked at me. I said, "I know. You hate pig, and I hate pig, too. I don't eat pork. So now what else are we going to talk about?" And so I've often said, especially after going with a delegation to Jamaica in the 90s, that every black officer should have that humbling experience that I had with Daruba bin Wahad from the Black Panther Party, with Ras Baraka's Black Nia Force, with my experience in Jamaica with folks who hated the cops, and then also my experience in South Africa, where only one black cop was allowed into Soweto and Cape Town, and I was fortunate enough to ride with him and then leave a letter under the door of Queen Mother Winnie Mandela. So I had some humbling experiences.
Yes, you did. It's okay. You got this part, and it seems like you're squeezed.
Yes.
Yeah. And my question is why? Why you do this? I think it could be a easier life for you.
It could be. It could be. I think, and I'm not sure. I'd be lying if I told you then that I knew definitively. I knew when I sat down with my family and told them that I was getting ready to put me and them in harm's way, that I wanted their support.
Okay.
But I was exposed to the likes of Gary Bird, Naeem Akbar, Joy DeGruy, Minister Farrakhan, Amiri Baraka, Barbara King, Larry Ham, Congressman Donald Payne, the father. You know, so I had a lot of experience. And James M. too made my musical mentor at that time. Sister Frederica from Women in Support of the Million Man March. So I had a lot of exposure. The Jeffries, Roslyn, and Lynn Jeffries. And so it helped feed my inquisitiveness, trying to understand. Like, I legitimately did not understand why policing looked the way it looked in our community and something different in suburban, white, and affluent communities. So what I now talk about is that in our community, we get law enforcement. In their community, they get public safety.
Salim Ismail says, "Peace, my
brother. Peace."
Yes,
So Ishmael, my man, I did my first press conference with him.
What?
He taught me how to do my first press release. You know, Salam Ishmael, you're talking about, out of Elizabeth.
Yes, that's the brother.
And, you know, it's funny because as I started moving, you know, folks would say, "Well, you must be forgetting about us." And even in Newark. And what I said to them, "No, you just don't see me on the battlefield." And the reason is because I'm a general now.
Okay.
And if you see me on the battlefield, it's because all the soldiers are dead.
Oh, wow.
I am practicing my preach and what I said 34 years ago. And what I said to people when I was in my 20s, you hit 50 and 60 years old, get off the stage, pass the baton. In fact, some of y'all, they wrote a song, "Move, get out the way, get out." Like, because we're problematic. We want to stay there forever. And you need to pass the baton to a younger generation that can still win the race.
Wow.
Pass the baton. Do what Dick Gregory did for me. They would give me resources.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
Yes, yes.
They would help me. When I got ready to do my doctorate, Dr. Joy DeGroot called me and said, Brother DeLacy, we need you. Tell me what you need, and we'll make sure you have it so that you get your doctorate. That's how you help the next generation.
That's right.
Not stay in the seat talking about, I'm going to run one more time. I'm in my 6th term. I've been running this organization 400 years. Well, you just ain't going to die, huh? Like, you just going to stay there forever.
That's right, right. And it's so interesting that you say that because, again, I mean, I think you come out of a tradition.
Yes.
And it's so funny because we talk about the black classics. Okay, this is a classic, but we have another classic, and this is from my brother, your brother, Lawrence Ham,
Yes.
A Life in the Struggle. And this is by
Yes.
Lawrence Ham with Annette Austin. And as I was doing my research on you, I came across, this is on page 170 from this book here, and it says here, DeLacy Davis was head of a group called Black Cops Against Police Brutality. Davis told me he had been inspired to be an activist when he heard me speak at Arts High School in the early 1970s. Davis had risen to the rank of sergeant at East Orange and formed his activist group to be a community check against police aggression and to give officers a voice to talk to the community. And I want to say this about Davis. As difficult as it is to talk about police brutality in today, it was much harder in the 1980s and 1990s. I have a great deal of respect for him because his outspokenness affected his police career. After many years on the force, he lost his rank due to his activism, even after the community appealed to the East Orange mayor, who had been the subject of Davis's remarks and incurred the mayor's ire. There was also appeals made to the city council to no avail. And so, my brother, I'm in awe of you. You gave up a lot to do this work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I died at number 3 on the lieutenant's list.
Okay.
The same mayor that promoted me to sergeant at number 11 on the list told me, you might as well put your papers in because we're not promoting you.
Wow.
And I took his advice. Now, to my credit, I'm thankful to the ancestors because I've outlived them and all those others that I had to fight with. But I accepted that. There is a price to pay, and I think the armchair revolutionaries, the digital revolutionaries, the new Negroes that want to pontificate don't understand that there are no bloodless coups. There are no bloodless wars. There is no war where we're going to win and you don't sacrifice. Now, black women have always paid a high price for the success of black people. In fact, as the elders have often said, if you want to know the condition of any people, look at the condition of its women and its children, and you'll understand where black people are. And so
amazing.
Carol Taylor, the first black flight attendant I understand in this country, who wrote the Little Black Book, and she used to always say this, she said, the black woman is the most unprotected
Oh, my goodness.
in the country.
Yeah.
Because she's under attack by everyone. And so I recognize that. And so yes, it was a high price. My family paid the price because I didn't get to make the rank of lieutenant. However, the generations of young officers who are still in East Orange, who came after me, all have made the rank of lieutenant. And one of the young sisters now, Yasmin Britt, is on the list to become a captain. And I got her as a rookie. And so what it says to me is that I practice my preach. We lift as we climb. Yes, we may not get to see there, as Dr. King would say, we may not get there, okay, because he's been to the mountaintop, right? But you got to see over and see forward. And you've got to lay a foundation for the generations that are yet to come. I'm clear about that.
That's beautiful.
I've got 1 birth child but 4 adopted children and raised another 5 from the community. My mom supported me through all of this. My youngest adopted child at the time, 11, 12 years old. My youngest adopted child is now 36. The oldest is 42. And my birth child is 33. Now, my birth child paid the price, right? Of course, and Betty Shabazz said this to me the year before she transitioned. She says, DeLacy, your children will suffer. Because my children suffered. Malcolm did this work. And the late Gil Noble told me the week that Malcolm transitioned, he says, I was with Malcolm. I saw Malcolm. And he had no money in his pockets. And so Gil Noble used to say to me, I'm giving you this platform because I'm obligated to do this for you as a young person. And so what I've done is try to replicate that and prepare it for the 21st century. I've had 128 interns come through my office over the last 10 years because you've got to pass the baton. And they're from different races, they're from different backgrounds. And as I say often to my Caucasian students that come through, I said, Minister Farrakhan said some years ago, because Malcolm talked about at one point, if you remember the movie where the white girl walks up to him and says, Mr. X, what can I do?
Right.
And what much he wanted her to do at that point, right? We come to learn, and the ministers have all said this, we got to teach their children too, because they too have been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and not told the truth. They've been given their story and not his story, right? And so I recognize my responsibility in all of this to educate those children who want to learn. As my staff will tell you all the time, as I've invited you all to the office to visit, when the student is ready to learn, the teacher will appear.
Oh, yes.
We didn't say what color student. We said the student.
A student.
Right?
A student.
And so some of my students, I tell them, I said, you're going to be in rooms where people are going to say things in front of you that they wouldn't think of saying if I was in the neighborhood.
That's something.
And you're going to have what we call and what I call your Job moment. And you're going to have to make a decision.
That's right.
But what I want you to remember when you get ready to make the decision that I told you that it was coming.
Yes.
And I want you to remember how we embraced you in this community, in community and building coalitions, and what the sacrifices that were made so that you could be present.
Yes.
I need you to show up for my community when you're behind that closed door.
That's amazing. And before I bring my brother in here for his questions, one question I have for you, as you moved into academia, and you got your doctorate, what was your dissertation about?
Sure. My dissertation, I studied from 2017. I defended in 2019, and because of the pandemic, I didn't graduate till 2020.
Okay.
My dissertation is police use of force, examining factors relating to police shooting unarmed black males. And so what I did was a quantitative study using a firearm simulator, 36 officers in a North Jersey police department with a simulator of their handgun and the OC spray connected to a laser, and 4 scenarios.
Wow.
And we wanted to measure their shoot or don't shoot, and we wanted to measure their reaction time and their error rate and see if they would shoot using implicit bias, whether or not I wanted to understand whether the officer's race, age, years of service, or place of residence impacted their decision-making around shooting the suspect.
Isn't that something? Dina Robinson checking in. She says, happy birthday, Terry Benjamin. Thank you, Dina. But, you know, again, Ron, I want you to get in here because this is some good stuff right here. You have some questions, I know, right?
I'm speechless because, as I said, this is going to be one dynamic session. This brother is so on point. I'm speechless. You know it's hard for me.
That's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
I'm telling
that's
you,
an accomplishment.
He's saying everything that we talk about on a regular basis, no matter how you look at it. Yes, it's about moving forward and moving out of the way so the next generation. I'm a firm believer that not only getting those that's in the position to move out of the way, so the ones in the present can carry on the baton, the baton to the future.
Yes.
But in the present, we have to sit and have a dialogue. And I say that to the young ones. You have to raise your hand and ask questions. This brother said right now, students come to him, say, hey, I need this, I need that, I need to understand. That's what's important, to have that conversation and to move us aside so you can continue to carry on. But I'd like to get right into these questions, but I'm not going. What I'm going to do, I'd like to go down to questions and whatever pops out, because I know this brother already ahead of me.
Yeah, we're gonna
before
go
I
over
read it. But I just like to just go down these questions because it ties into everything that we're talking about.
Before you begin, I just want to acknowledge Bob Sumner. Happy birthday, Terry.
My man, Bob.
Bob, is everybody, you know, this is a reunion here.
That's my man.
Dina Robinson says, congratulations to you, Dr. DeLacy Davis. And so again, like I said, what we do here, this is a community.
Yes.
And these are people who come every time we come on Thursday and Sunday, and they encourage us so much. But again, like they're happy to see you, brother.
Happy
to see you.
And I'm happy to see them. You know, it's one of the things that we say. I used to say this to the black police organizations when I would travel for the National Black Police Association.
Yes.
I said, if I go in your community, I understand that you're in uniform and doing work, but if you claim to be a black police organization, I should be able to identify 10 people
Yes.
who either know you, your work, or your organization's work. And if they do not, it's not because you aren't doing any work, but it's not good and it's not enough. So the Bob Sumner is way up here, right? This is community leadership.
It is.
Larry Ham held the door open for me. Mtume held the door open for me. He was my musical mentor. And so these people that held the door, at the very minimum, I have an obligation
Yes.
to the next generation to hold the door and support them if I got to buy the door. In fact, because what happens is that Negroes are scared and they don't want to pay a price. Frantz Fanon says, out of relative obscurity, each generation has an obligation to the next generation, and we will either fulfill it or betray it. And many of us Negroes have betrayed it.
Oh, we have, yeah. You got some questions. You don't need no questions. Let's let them talk.
I'm telling you. But I'll just go there because the brother already answered the question without even know what the questions are. But let me just go down the list anyhow, at least for our audience. And these are some of the things. And I always used to start this way. What has changed then and now? Yeah. Here's a list of questions for an open dialogue. What motivates you to pursue a career in law enforcement? What has changed from then and now, from being in law enforcement to retirement?
Yeah, take one at a time, because it's so much.
Because I ain't taking notes.
Yeah, one at a time.
So the first thing, what motivated me for a career in law enforcement, I needed to finance my music career. Very simple. I'm a percussionist. I'm a conga player. I play congas, bongos. I do Atlantic City. In fact, I'll be at Atlantic City at Kelsey's this coming Saturday at 7:30 with the first set. I've been with Darshell Todd and the Ascension Music Company for the last 12 years. In fact, we use that as a fundraiser for the charter school where I was the school principal. That's how we raise money to take children on trips. And once I left there, I continued to play with the band. So that's the first thing. I was only financing my music career. And in fact, Rita Owens, who was Queen Latifah's mother, was one of our supporters of our work. Their family is still supportive of our work. So again, I'm in community. And so I was motivated simply to finance the career. What's your next question?
Yeah, one by one, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. What has changed from then and now from being in law enforcement?
It's worse. It's worse. Okay? Because at least back then, black officers, the National Black Police Association was founded in 1972. About 18 brothers and sisters. Gene from Cleveland, Ohio, one of the black females. They came together to deal with racism, to deal with sexism, to deal with not having access to law enforcement. All of that, and all of the commissions that were formed, whether it was the Wickesher Commission, or the Marlin Commission, the Christopher Commission, they all said if we have more black officers on the force, then things will change. And that was a naive way of seeing the world, and we believed that would be true, because what we failed to understand is that some of us, while most of us have the spirit of a warrior, warrior kings and queens in our DNA, some of us Negroes also have the spirit of the overseer in our DNA. And so we weren't able to parse out which Negroes was the overseer officer and which black folks were going to be warriors and were going to be like Yaa Asantewaa in Ghana, who's gone when they stole King Prempeh in Ghana and took the golden stool, the British. And she says, if you men won't be men, then us women will go and get our king back. See, I've always said the strongest black man I've ever known has always been a black woman. My grandmother would fight you like a man.
That's right. Bob Sumner says, speak it.
Yes, sir, Bob. That's my man. Yes.
What inspired you to keep working as an activist and motivational speaker?
The children that I came in contact with, especially the children who were other people's children. Yes. What I recognized is that I knew that I wanted to leave a legacy. And I can tell you, I told my financial planner, Reverend Dr. Nicole Simpson, who we studied at the same time. She was at Yale University while I was at St. John Fisher University. And she said to me, what legacy do you want to leave? I said, I'm living my legacy. And that's an honor. And I don't take that lightly, and I don't say it flippantly. I'm leaving and living a legacy. The fact that I could still be 30-plus years later embraced by my community.
That's right.
I'm unarmed when I came here today. I travel unarmed most days because guess what? I'm not afraid of us. And I've often said to us, if I die amongst us, it was my turn.
Whoa, okay.
It's them that I have to defend against.
Yes.
During your time serving as a police officer, what did you observe in the environment that shifted the mindset of the black police officer? Your awareness led you to realize that something was wrong and that we needed to focus more on an internal activities with other uninformed officers.
Well, I think I've seen a lot of shifts. So I was a young officer at the National Black Police Association. I belonged to the Kinsmen, which was the black police organization in East Orange. At that time, Sergeant Irv Childress was the president, and we did the first Kwanzaa there in the early 90s. And then he told me years later, he's since transitioned, but he was my man. He says, I had no idea what Kwanzaa even was. But because you were bringing it as a young man. He said, then you asked for a budget and you wanted all the money we had. He said, I was going to be responsible. Here's, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know it makes sense because you convinced me. So he gave us half the money. And we got 100 people to show up at Club 88 that year. The next year, we got about 200 people. By the third year, we were at Robert Treat Hotel with 500 people. And the last year we did it at the Wisdom Cultural Center. We had 3,000 people. And so it was, what motivated me was the elders believing in me. Barbara King from Africa North, Maxwell Juma, who is actually Raz's father-in-law. Okay, Maxwell Juma was a part of Africa North. They took me to Ghana for the very first time. Haley Garima, the filmmaker, Sankofa, Amiri Baraka. I mean, I have just been blessed with a wealth of Africanness.
Yes, yes.
And I'm a musician, right?
Yeah. Robert Cabistalk on deck. So he is enjoying the conversation.
Yes. Next.
Are there more, or what percentage of black officers are working together to see and make a difference in the community across the spectrum in other areas across the United States?
So I belong to another group called the National Coalition of Law Enforcement Officers for Justice, Reform, and Accountability. Yes. It was formed in 2015 by a brother out of St. Louis, Missouri. And so I would say that we exist all over the country. I would say that we are disparate in the sense that when we're organized, people target us and pick us off. So Cheryl Dorsey is the representative on the West Coast. And Cheryl Dorsey, that's the sister with the salt and pepper hair that you see on CNN all the time from LAPD. Yeah. She's our spokesperson on the West Coast. I'm the spokesperson on the East Coast. Riddick Hudson was a former St. Louis police officer, and he left and went into the district attorney's office. And so he's the founder. And then people like Rochelle Bilal, who's now the sheriff of Philadelphia, she's a member. So we're all over the place. Some of us are still in, some of us are outside, and some of us are just hiding. Because one of the things we have to also learn how to do is become spooks who sit by the door. Everybody doesn't have to be out front. Everybody doesn't have to be heard. We just need to make sure the work gets done. See, I don't mind if you're a punk. I just need you to know you're a punk. And so since you are a punk, then you can stay a punk, but give us your punk money to fund the revolution. Because they said it won't be televised.
It won't be televised. It won't be televised. And it's so funny because we have, we go into a segment of the program called Food for Thought. And today we wanted to look at police brutality in the new era. And you know what I want to say when I say new era, I think you know what I'm talking about. So how do you see police brutality in the new era?
Well, I think it looks the same, to be honest with you. I don't think much has changed. Okay. You know, police brutality looks like it looked when it started. I mean, it's actually regressing, right? In the sense that, not that there's a regression of the brutality, it's a regression of how it looks, because it got sophisticated. You know, so Jim Crow became James Crow Jr., who became James Crow Esquire, and now this Negro says, I can just take a whole hood off because we will be excused for rioting January 6th. We'll just get our man to hook us up. So they got the hookup. And so what I try to say to black people, brown people, and conscious people, right, why do you have to be fair? There's nothing wrong with being fair, but don't be more than fair. And what we've been with most folks is more than fair. And so what happens now, if you got a mental health crisis, they kill you. They just gun it down. They shoot it. And I want to give credit to East Orange because most recently he had a brother with a knife. He put a knife to his neck first, and then he was in the street with the knife. 4 black officers, and they continue to talk to him. They continue to keep a distance from him. Whenever he came toward them, they went behind the car with their weapons drawn. They eventually got him to drop the knife, and then they were able to tackle him. That's how it should go classically. But what happens now, if you want to shoot somebody, then what you do is you get close enough that they come at you, and then you say, hey, I was in fear of losing my life. I've always maintained from that book forward that all of my review and studying history, I've never read where one white man lynched one black man ever. In fact, one white man could not lynch one black woman ever. And so it was always in mobs. So always. I gave the foregone conclusion. I believe you're afraid of us. So let's not debate that point. Now let's talk about what to do with your fear. Because you're behaving like you're afraid of us.
That's right.
Period. What I'm concerned about is us being afraid of us.
So now, what are you involved in currently? Okay, you know, along with the police, but you have organization or something.
So my research area is implicit bias police use of force. Additionally, I run a family support organization, and so there we're parents of special needs children, and it's required to work in the agency, and we work with other parents with special needs children. And so I do a great deal of work there. I've been in this community for the last 12 years doing that work, doing the work out in the front nationally, and then I also work with other states and organizations helping their states set up systems of care for children modeled after New Jersey.
Okay.
And so it's all coming together now. And so it's the music, it's law enforcement, it's behavioral health, it's mental health, it's parenting, it's young people. Like I just completed a 6-week male mentoring program here in Union County where I had young men come through. And I try to stay below the radar because I would have my office inundated with young people. So we do anywhere from about 4 to 15 young people. This year I had 8. I finished with 3 because they don't all finish. Either we're competing with school, competing with the band. Like the band here now is playing. So if I got a kid that's in band, they're going to leave me to go do band. But we're still doing the work.
Yes. Again, like Brother Lawrence Ham says, a life in the struggle.
Yes.
Okay. We don't stop.
Yes.
We may do different things in the struggle, but we're still doing the struggle.
Yes.
You want to continue with your questions?
A couple more.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the actions of those police officers who assaulted a young brother to the point of death? Did he have to lose his life?
Which brother are we talking about? Because they killed about 1,000 of you.
There's a lot of brothers.
And with that is the young brother, I think it was several months ago, the 5 black police officers who stomped him.
Oh, you're talking about Tyree. We're talking about Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis.
Yes.
Okay.
5 black officers. So I'll answer it this way.
Yeah.
Nichols, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
If you've ever had a burger at McDonald's or Burger King on the East Coast, it tastes like a burger. If you have a burger at McDonald's or Burger King on the West Coast, it tastes like the same burger because they franchise the burger.
That's right.
Police brutality and racism has been franchised. It doesn't matter what color person made your burger, like it don't matter what color person beat you to death or shot you to death. It's still franchised because some of my white counterparts would come to me and my colleagues and scholars would say, well, Brother DeLacy, this isn't racism because these were black officers that did it. I said, it is racism because the institution attacks black, brown, and poor people. We're not caring about who delivers the death. The reality is that the vehicle for delivering it is law enforcement, and that has been promulgated, developed, and sustained by my white counterparts first and then everybody else. See, I don't think because I see a black officer that I'm safer necessarily. I need to watch your actions. I taught my children that. When you see me, I would tell them, if you see me speak to an officer, a black officer, if I introduce you to him, he's safe or she's safe. If I don't introduce you to them, that means stay next to me because I'm not sure. Right? We need to observe officers in their practice consistently over a period of time. Like there is no Yelp to review police officers.
Wow. Continue.
Are you working in a community with others who are willing to make changes across various age groups, including young, middle age, older, and seniors?
So I do. I mean, so my office, for example, is intergenerational. The work I do is intergenerational. What I'm not doing is working with grown people anymore. Right. I just don't have time for it. Right? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I will risk it all for young people. I'll put it all on the line for a young person. I'll give them my last dollar, shirt off my back. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna play with old people. Because old people are just old and in the way. And there's a difference between old people and elders. Old people are old and in the way. Elders, as we get older, we make way for young people. And so, am I working with some elders? Absolutely. I named a few. Am I working with some old people? Absolutely not. I have no desire. Because, and you can tell who they are because the old people are the ones running around talking about what they do for young people, but ain't no young people around them. Joker talking about I'm a leader, but ain't nobody behind them.
I say it all the time.
The hell, who you leading? The roach is not even following you. Damn.
Oh my goodness, man.
Here's the last one. What about churches, organizations, fraternities, et cetera, et cetera? Is there any collaboration among them to support a better future for as many as are willing to make a difference?
Absolutely. So it's funny. I'm speaking at Syracuse University the 30th of next month. The president of the Alpha fraternity there, the brothers reached out to me last year and said, hey, we don't have enough time to get you here this year. In fact, the brother was an outgoing graduate. He says, but we're going to make sure we bring you back. And they put it all in place. And I got a text this week And so I'm on the calendar to go there to have this dialogue. And so there are conversations going on. There are brothers here doing the work in this community because I'm dealing with some of them, right? I think that, Kwame Ture said this. All black people need to belong to an organization. If it's a weak organization, make it stronger. If you can't make it stronger, quit and start your own organization, then ask the question about Africa. He says, but once you begin to pull these organizations together, you've got to first mobilize everybody.
Yes.
Then you have to organize everybody. And then you have to politicize everybody. Because everything that goes on in our community is political. And we're seeing that now with this administration. They say, well, damn the rules.
What rules?
And when we can't flout the rules, we'll just change them to suit our fancy. And so, people are doing the work, but we're not organized in a way that we can see the work, right? Like there's, Jamal Bryant, I met this brother, we started working with him down in Baltimore, Maryland with Dr. Tyrone Powers, and a bunch of us, Dr. Andre Bundley. We've been doing work on the ground in Baltimore, Maryland since 1998. Wow. Dr. Powers did the People's Plan. He also did a plan to get the lead out of the drinking water in public schools in Baltimore City. So we have been doing this work. Coach Alfred Powell in Dayton, Ohio. He and his twin brother are the winningest coaches in track and field and football in Ohio. We've been working since the 90s. So I can name someone in almost every state where we were doing the work. In October, this will be my 5th year going to Davenport, Iowa, to the Quad Cities. So we're working with a brother, Sherwin Robinson, on the ground, who was a brother that used to have an addiction. He's a barber. Somebody helped him. He wanted to help the children in his community. There were about 15% black there. So we get groups of kids, 2 groups that come from Davenport, Iowa, and 2 groups that come from across in Rock, Illinois. And we started with 25 kids the first year, a mentoring program over a 2-day period. Then the next year, 50, then 100. We're up to 250 kids. And they're middle school to high school. So we're doing the work. But some people say, well, Brother DeLacy, I didn't know you were working that hard. That's because I'm working and you're not. The hell? You know I was working
that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
I'm out working.
Right.
My brother, again, today's agenda is revisiting a classic.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a classic. Black Cops Against Police Brutality, a crisis action plan. Now, you told me there may be some idea about revising this?
Yes, definitely a new edition. So when we did that book in 2006, there was no iPhone. In fact, the most technology that we talk about in there was a beeper with 4 lines on it, right? People would walk around with that big beeper. Now, my beeper, you had the 4 lines like Skynet or something, and you could see the 4 lines, and you were saying something, and you were seeing something, right? Now, mine, I had gotten mine modified. So I had a Negro detector attached to mine. So whenever I got close to a Negro, it would start to vibrate on my hip, like, Negro, right? So mine did a little Negro thing. So now we got to talk about the technology. How do we utilize the technology? We have to talk about police officers, and we're seeing with police officers texting each other and talking about harming and abusing and calling people monkeys and coons and all of that. We have to develop strategies. Now we have to talk about language that wasn't necessarily in a lexicon then, like intergenerational.
Yes.
We have to talk about not necessarily taking the lead and sitting out front, but putting young people in power and in leadership. So, for example, I stopped taking awards 10 years ago. Rarely will I accept an award for an organization. One, because I don't respect most of the organizations that want to give it to me. Then they want me to come and speak for free while they sell all the tickets. Right? Yeah. The next thing, now some I will accept, but most I do not. And when I do accept, I say to them, I'll only accept if you let me bring a young person to come up on stage and receive the award on my behalf and let them speak.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's a message.
That is.
That's a platform, right? So we got to talk about platforms and how we utilize them and how we share them, right? Who are we grooming? What is the transition plan? Not the transition plan after you're dead and gone. No, how do we transition while you're still living?
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And then what I would suggest when you revise this book, that maybe you think in terms of audiobook.
Absolutely.
Because people tell me, they tell me black people don't read.
Yes.
But they listen.
Definitely audiobook.
Audiobook.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And you said you had another idea for another publication. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we're doing we're almost finished with the book, A Day with Dad and Me.
Oh,
and so about, 15 years or so ago, for 12 years straight, we would do a Donuts with Dad at Dionne Warwick School with the principal, Gloria Watson, who was my 5th grade teacher when I was at Chancellor Avenue School. And so she brought me in, and that became a gang-free school. So we brought Ja Rule there, Jaheim there, Joe Buttons there. I mean, we did this work with Tamika Riley at the time from TRI Incorporated. So we've been doing this work, and so we wanted to capture the richness of those encounters with fathers. So what we would do is we would get no less than 25, but between 50 and 100 fathers on a school day on the second Thursday of the month. All year long, the PTA would cook breakfast, and then they bring the child down, and I would do a 45-minute workshop based on the topics that they said they wanted.
Okay.
That was powerful. So I'll give you an example. Some of the lessons. If you only went to high school, which some of people in our community did, right? So if you only went to, let's say, the 10th grade, but your child's in elementary school, you should be able to do up to second grade homework. Now, maybe not third grade because they get geometry in there now and algebra, right? But back then, you could get up to second grade. And then I want you to get some friends that graduated so that you can help your child, because a child, no matter what kind of dad you are, a bad dad, and the best domestic violence dad, an abusive dad, a drug-addicted dad, an absent dad, that kid still needs you and loves you. So what I want to do is give you some steps that you can take to rebuild the relationship. And so one of them is you could just do the homework. That kid got to know, and this is how we got the fathers to come. Once a month, you got to be the baddest dad in the neighborhood. That kid know my father going to show up. We having breakfast. Dr. Davis is coming in, and my dad come here and make me feel good. My chest is out.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how we do that.
You know, Dr. Davis, when we do this program, you know, we say that, you know, it's the hour. But the hour goes so fast.
Absolutely.
So now we're down to 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to give you 5 minutes.
Yes,
I'm going to give my brother 5 minutes to wrap it up. Can we do that, brothers?
Oh, absolutely. I'm speechless.
Brother, you are.
Well, let me just say this. I'm honored. I thank you, brothers, for the opportunity. Black radio is missing. Talk radio is missing. There's some people that are doing podcasts, and they talking about things that are just not important in my mind. But, I mean, they're getting a chance to talk about it. We need to be talking about revolutionary thought. We need to, and not revolutionary and evolutionary thought. See, young people need to know you got to come out of the room. You can't play video games until you're 45, 50, 60 years old sitting playing a video game. Because as long as you're playing the video game, you are no threat to the status quo. You are no threat to the system that wants to control you, your children. They want to control not only women's bodies, but they know that you have no testicles, right? Because you have no fortitude. So we ain't got to worry about it as long as we keep you on the couch. And that's got to cause a problem down there when you sitting that long for hours at a time. Bus drivers have a real problem down there. So what is the problem? What do you want? What do you want for the next generation? And so we've got to be serious about doing this work. I am so tired of seeing our sisters on the battlefield when the men should be there first.
Oh, my goodness. That's it.
You know, see,
You're fine.
I was only a minute. Go ahead.
Right. You know, one of the most important things, as I always say, and this brother just said the exact same thing. I said, I don't care how poor you are. The only thing that's important to a child is the mere presence of their father.
Yes.
I don't care who, what, when, where, whatever can do. I said it because I raised my kids. And I'm a firm believer, and I say it all the time. The mere presence, a child never asks how poor you are, how come. They say, where were you?
That's right.
You wasn't there.
That's right.
And so just showing up, I don't care your condition, whatever the case may be, they will always tell everybody else, that's my dad.
Absolutely.
My dad came. And when they grow up and the time passes on, they can never hold the father of being absent. I don't care where you're at, but your mere presence is so important. And this last thing I want to say, I said to you in the beginning, this dialogue is going to be so profound and so in tune to your mind that I know everybody cannot go and get a drink of water. But this brother, from my perspective, Dr. DeLacy, okay, is a legend in his own time. He is history, bringing to the presence of today for the young ones and everybody else, not only for us to learn something, but for you to carry on something. Because he mentioned how many young students and young people in the community all around come to him. And as he said himself, even some of the young ones who became adults, remember. So what's important is for you to remember. We say it all the time. And even several months ago, we talked about calling him father. We talk about the father's importance of father. So fathers and men all around, you might be an adopted father, a fill-in, a brother, an uncle, whatnot, but there is no excuse. And I have a serious problem when they come down to excuses, because 99.100% is always an excuse. Do it. Say, I've been there, so no matter what, nobody can accuse you for being absent. I was there. I saw my kids. And as I said in this last minute, even my kids, They heard my voice, I was there. I spent 1 minute, 5 minutes, whatever. But they always saw me. My kids can never tell you. My grandkids the exact same way. So I say exactly what this brother said. And we say it all the time. Any child in the community, say hello, do something, play basketball, teach them something. But I'm on the roll now. I forgot where I was supposed to go.
Well, you took some of my minutes, but I'm going to take this last one.
On,
I had a brother send me a letter from an incarcerated brother. And he says, I don't know what you said in one of your workshops, but my kid's mother, who I've never had a good relationship with, and my mother-in-law reached out to me.
Yes.
And because of what you said in that workshop, which is what we just heard, he says, they're now letting me see my child. They're now engaging me, and our relationship is excellent. And so what I'm saying to folks is that we don't know who we're going to light up. We don't know whose lights we're going to turn on. But we've got to start and lead with love, right? We got to start there.
Yes.
And if I can't help you, I just won't hurt you.
That's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, community, this has been Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word. We're here every Thursday and Sunday. And again, we want to offer more programs like this because what we're trying to do is bring to you people who have impacted on our lives. We read this book in 2005, 2006. My brother just happened to run into him. And we bring him here because, again, we know that you need to be exposed to brothers like this. And again, we come to you in the spirit of Gil Noble, the spirit of like it is. And so it is like it is today. And I give you, like, you got about 1 minute, right?
Yeah, actually we got 5, but I'm only going to take a minute. Right. It is truly an honor to have this brother, even with all of our guests who comes on this show. I met this brother years ago. And I just happened to run into him, not knowing if it was the same brother. Tapped the brother on the shoulder and asked him the question. Only come to find out, he said, yes, I am that person.
I am that brother.
And said one thing leads to another. We say it all the time. You never know who you're going to pass or run into. You never know. It doesn't matter the title, position, or the condition. You just don't know. So it is truly an honor. And I say that seriously. To know and have this brother, not only to have him on the show, but know that he's doing something, and he's doing it from the roots of his soul.
That's right.
There's no other way to express it except the depths of his heart and the passion he has for his brothers and sisters, the young and old, and sisters. I'm talking to all them sisters, but the ones who do not take heed to what this brother has expressed and said to us, take heed to the sisters who are working along to try to make a difference for the community. Because again, it's through your wounds we came through.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true. And Sister Pat Hughes says, happy birthday, blessing Terry. And I just want to say to Dr. Davis, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday, brother.
But you give me a gift, brother.
Praise God.
And I appreciate it. Again, like I said, we tape Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but we're on YouTube forever. So please, when you go home, enjoy yourself on the big screen. For our community, we say thank you, and we say.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Oh my brother, he want to get he want to squeeze this is limited. Go ahead.
It's your birthday.
Yeah, I know, but no, I'm finished.
No, all right, well, you finish and we finish. There's nothing else for me to say. So again, it is truly a pleasure.
Okay, and Dina Robinson, enjoy your birthday, Terry. Benjamin, you deserve it. But again, this is this is not work. Okay, this is just legacy. This is like carrying on. Because I want my grandchildren, Dr. Davis, to say that man, my pop-up.
That's
my
right.
pop-up, he did this, and you can see this on YouTube. And so again, but I really love the fact that you are still in the struggle.
Yes, sir.
You're still in the struggle.
Absolutely.
You're speaking good. You're looking good.
Praise God.
You're being good.
Yeah, man. I got the self-care, man. I walk 4 miles on Sundays and 2 miles every other day.
Ain't you something?
Yes, sir. At 16 minutes a mile, getting it in.
All right.
Absolutely.
But that's what we have to do. People understand that we don't have to get all broke down. We get into the 60s and 70s and beyond. And it's only because, again, it's self-care. And so, again, community, we bring you this because we love you. We bring you this because we know that we have to do this because it keeps us vital, keeps us alive, and it really gives us something to look forward to. So on that note, I'm going to say good night, and we will see you soon.
Good night. Thanks.